Welcome to the Catering Feed, the Catering Growth Podcast, a show about growing your catering business and restaurant industry trends, powered by EasyCater. Hi, Catering Feed listeners. This is your host, Genevieve Babineau, and we are delighted to have Kevin Rychel, COO of Fuzzy's Tacos, with us today. We asked Kevin to come on the podcast and talk to us about the opportunity in creating a digital footprint from an operations perspective. It's a crazy time to be thinking about modernizing your business, and Kevin is a real influencer in this space. So, Kevin, we're so happy to have you here today.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. I've been in the business almost 25 years now and really have learned a lot from being an operator all the way up to my current role that Fuzzy's has given me the chance to lead a great group of people, great operations side, training team, and everything else. So we're just looking forward to a successful 2020 and beyond.
And do I have it right that you were also, for a little bit there, a baseball player and played for the Pirates?
I sure did. About 8.5 years with the Pirates.
I think it's always interesting to see how that leadership role can have such overlap into running a team in the athletic world.
I've always told everybody, if you're competitive, then this is definitely the right business for you because you can do a lot in this industry. Make a lot of money if you're competitive and not scared to go out there and take a leap.
Well, a lot of operators right now are trying to think about what that next leap should be for them, so we're really happy to have you here to share some of your wisdom. When it comes to getting your share, really staying competitive in the catering market, what role does technology play?
Well, it's a huge role. You know, obviously you got your websites and everything else that you can put on there with your menus and everything, but the technology piece, you know, as you get these guests, get these customers coming in, even for, say, the catering field, that's just a lot more eyes, a lot more mouths in your marketplace on the outside. And guess what? You win fans over there as well if you do it the right way. That was the biggest thing that we learned. We weren't huge in the catering realm. We were kind of grassroots about 2 years ago. And now all of a sudden, we put a big focus in it. The biggest thing that we did was, it's like, hey, now all of a sudden you take some food off site, you do it the right way, and you're in front of 10, 15, 20 people. Now all of a sudden you've gained fans that, hey, you know what? I've driven by that Fuzzy's. I think I'm going to stop on Friday night with my family, and they love it. You know, you provide a great service, a great food, a great atmosphere, and all of a sudden you've gained guests that all really came from doing outside catering that was all built through technology online.
You have the people who are ordering the food, but then you also have the people that are eating it. So you might be, getting exposure to that orderer that you otherwise wouldn't have known. And now suddenly you're introducing your brand to all of these people eating your food. It's the best marketing campaign in a way.
Oh, it really is.
You and I were laughing earlier. This is like one of the oldest industries out there. And just because you're ushering in new opportunity and you're giving yourself a chance to automate and embrace certain technologies that are going to help you, that doesn't mean that good old-fashioned hospitality is going out the door. It's still here to stay.
It is. You know, service is so key. When you get them in the door, you take care of them. I always equate it to hosting a party at home. You know, if you have a party at home, are you going to answer the door? Yep. Are you going to go sit in the living room, or are you going to actually mingle and talk to people? So when we talk about doing our figure eight routine at front as managers, touching tables, having fun, really it's just shaking hands, kissing babies, and providing a service to get them back in, because we all live on that repeat business.
And it's interesting, too, when you talk about, thinking about doing those figure eights on a Friday night in the front of house and all the different opportunities you have to have a touch point with the guests, to identify opportunities for guest recovery, to go above and beyond. And in a way, in the digital footprint, it's actually pretty similar. How are you going to make sure that you still give the experience to recover a guest? How do you still stay committed to wow them and go above and beyond? It's what we've been doing for centuries and centuries, but now suddenly we're just shifting it to digital.
That is 100% correct. I think when we started the whole catering process, nobody was really familiar with callbacks. I mean, callback was one of the most simple things, and that's kind of 101. So just making sure, hey, was everything on time? Was everything hot? Was the food great? Just that follow-up that you would do as you're in the four walls.
Well, it's a panic, whether it's lowering your lead time or opening yourself up to a wider radius. You're suddenly thinking, God, can I actually execute on this? But as you said, I totally love that. You save someone when they're in a pinch. You can't pay for that kind of marketing or evangelism. That's a deeper bond, and they're going to keep coming back to you again and again.
Yes, you always hear about somebody has a bad experience and they tell so-and-so and they tell so-and-so. Now all of a sudden there's 30 people that know that
Yeah.
they had a bad experience. Well, same thing goes with this.
Except they have an iPhone at their fingertips.
Eggs.
Yeah. The digital landscape, of course, continues to evolve. From an operations perspective, as you're thinking about trying to usher your team into this new digital era, what are those major changes that you've seen in the most recent 2 to 3 years?
Our biggest thing is being able to capture specific target information on the consumers. We like to think over at Fuzzies that, we're welcome for everybody. We don't just target, say, 21 to 25 or any demographics. We're open to all, but we also want to get information of, what are they eating? Where are they eating at? How often? What type of user are they? So that's the biggest thing right now that we have really jumped on the bandwagon, is really trying to get, whether it's off of zip codes or gift card sales, or just captured information on how often you're coming. So then we can really target and make a marketing plan later on.
There are a lot of ways to expand your digital footprint. When you're working with the marketing team and other departments within your organization, what decisions go into place when you're thinking about expanding that digital footprint?
Well, really, it's building the knowledge first off. A lot of our franchisees and even our district managers here on the corporate side, we weren't utilizing the tools that were there provided for us. We have there's Google reviews out there, good, bad, or indifferent, but nobody was ever responding to those. So that's one way that we're really starting to go in 2020 is look at the Google, the TripAdvisor, the Facebook, all these reviews that are unsolicited.
As the top operations leader with your brand, how do you gain buy-in from operations franchisees or folks that maybe are not as bought into expanding into this new world as you are?
Well, being franchise-based, I deal with multiple franchisees, and a lot of a buy-in is just, the respect you have, the talking. You're trying to build that relationship. A lot of our, what we call old school franchisees, they're always hesitant. I mean, even with Easy Cater, a lot of them were hesitant to jump on. But analytics don't lie, numbers don't lie. So as we roll it out and test it at the corporate stores, and then you get some of the, I want to say mom and pop, but people that have single or 2 units at all, and they jump on, and all of a sudden you start to see sales start to increase. And once our older guys started seeing that, it was amazing that they started hopping on really quick.
Our CEO always talks about how everyone can have an opinion, but at the end of the day, you can't argue with data. And so it's such a big driver for us that, you can sit in a room and go circles on people thinking what the right decision is or what the next step should be. But when you can back it up with data, especially with someone who's a little, uncomfortable with this next step, I think data can help them get comfortable being uncomfortable. It can help them say, it's worth expanding my operation, because I get it. At the end of the day, their name is on the front door. They're trying to think about, how do I keep this business running? How do I still give that great experience to the guests? And it can be concerning about opening yourself up to more both opportunity but mistakes.
Most definitely. You have to roll it out correctly. I did have one of our franchisees down in Houston. She finally jumped on probably about 2 months ago, but her story was, Kevin, this has been so successful. Why did I not do this a year ago when we rolled this out? She goes, I was not a proponent at first, but I'm a believer at this point in time. So those are the stories that you're like, I've gained trust with her. So whatever the next big rollout is, I've got buy-in.
A lot of those leadership decisions are just about gaining that trust from your people too, and helping guide them towards what's going to be the right thing for the business. We know a lot of restaurant leaders are looking to continuously introduce their brand to new customers, get in front of people that maybe they otherwise wouldn't be able to. So what's your advice to leaders who are thinking about, what could the digital customer offer me that maybe is a little different than the person who's physically walking inside the 4 walls to place a catering order?
Really, you need to do your due diligence. Just make sure you become the subject matter expert, because as you roll things out, we had to take the time to really 101 a lot of the systems and tools. That way, when it got to the franchisee, the directions were right there. It's like getting a new bike. Here's the directions on how you put it together. So that's what we did. There's a lot of things. So if we make it as simple possible procedure to roll it out, at that point in time, it becomes more of inside operations, and all that should be fine at this point in time.
Do you feel like your franchisees are starting to see a halo effect? I mean, whether it's B2C marketplace where people are kind of getting that consumer who's sitting on their couch on a Friday night, whether it's a B2B catering customer. I'd really love to get your perspective on what you think is next. As a C-suite leader, you're looking out the next 3 to 5 years. How do you see technology continue to evolve and change the way things are done inside the four walls?
Well, there's so many things that are available now. So for technology piece, you can almost, blink and there's something else that's there. Even more than that, there's how do you make the lives of the general manager easy? I tell everybody the most important people in this company are the general managers. They run the four walls. They're the first line of seeing our guests. They can kind of control the schedule and control who's on and everything else. So anything that we can do digitally as far as helping them be successful. So the inventory processes using tablets so they can run through and get that done quicker. So there's a plethora of items that are on the agenda for the next 3 to 5 years. But as long as it takes into account, we talk about people, unit economics, and then our local store marketing. So if it falls under those three caps, then we're doing our jobs.
There's that scene in Field of Dreams where Doc Graham comes to the edge of the baseball field and he's making that decision. Do I step on the stones? Do I stay on the field? And I always kind of think of that when you're thinking about people who've been playing the game the same way for a really long time and you're making that decision, am I going to take that leap of faith? Am I going to go into this next unknown chapter? And we'd love just to end with what's your advice for folks that are thinking about making that leap?
If you're thinking about it, be all in when you make the jump. Don't hesitate. Don't stumble. Don't just go all in. Hard work pays off, and if you are fully committed, you will be successful.
I love it. Thank you so much, Kevin. We really appreciate you joining us and sharing your insight with our listeners. This is a really important topic, so appreciate you coming out.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me.
If you enjoyed hearing our episode today, you are going to love our Catering Growth Conference, Cater Up. Join us in San Diego, April 22nd to 24th to learn from experts and connect with your peers in the catering industry. Go to caterup2020.com to register. Thanks for listening to the Catering Feed, powered by EasyCater.